Excellent. So
Hi,
welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
We had a chat earlier outside,
Yeah.
and there's companies in the fashion space like Nike and let's say Adidas and others that have these Web3 dedicated people. But I was very pleasantly surprised. I mean, how old is Unilever? It's a very storied company, right?
Yeah, it's a very old company, and we're definitely taking the gaming and Web3 space very, very seriously.
Yeah.
We've created our own gaming practice. This is an initiative called Uplay that we've set up in 2019, and this is all about helping our brands getting on the front line of gaming. So allowing us to kind of cut through culture in a sort of a decisive and authentic way. Like the Web3 space is also massively important in terms of future fit marketing for our brands. And that's where we're also leading, or we've established the Web3 collective within Unilever, which is essentially kind of like a cross-functional group of stakeholders across all of our different functions, from sustainability to marketing to procurement, but essentially really kind of helping our brands understand how to kind of leverage the space, how to enter this space, and then also think about all the governance that sits underneath some of the Web3 activations that we've been doing across a number of our different brands. It's a really exciting time, and it's great to be here to kind of maybe help you give a couple of examples of what we're doing in this space, particularly across some of our brands.
Yeah, I'd love to dig into that. So I have two boys, 18 and 16, and there's one meme that they share with me. It's Steve Buscemi, and he has a baseball cap and a hoodie and a skateboard on his shoulder, and he walks up to like 2-3 younger people, and he's like, "Hello, fellow gamers," right? And they're always calling me boomer, and you're trying, and I think, if I look at some large organizations, some of the thing around like innovation or even some gaming, it's been kind of like theater, and it's been a little bit clumsy, and it's difficult, right? But I've talked to you about some of the activations that you've done, and I was really impressed with kind of the thoughtfulness and the impact. And the one thing that I thought was really interesting was with mayonnaise and Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And I love mayonnaise in my chicken salad sandwich, so that's my sort of like connection to mayo and Animal Crossing. But tell us about that.
So our marketing manifesto has got sort of 3 different constructs to it. It's about getting real, which is about kind of using data and empathy to kind of making sure that we're kind of really solving consumer pain points. It's about doing good, so making sure that we're serving the communities in an authentic way. And it's about being unmissable. So this is about how we can really help our brands cut through culture and use the power of creativity and accessibility to help our brands cut through culture. So for Hellmann's, for example, the purpose of the brand is all about making taste and not waste. So we kind of identified an opportunity within Animal Crossing is that there is nowhere for you to recycle your spoiled turnips. So essentially what we did is that we created an environment or a virtual world called Hellmann's Island within Animal Crossing, whereby we gave the opportunity for players to be able to recycle their turnips. And for every turnip that you recycle, it basically generated sort of free meals for food rescue centers in Canada. And essentially what we're doing here is trying to drive virtual engagement into real life participation and doing good for the world around us. And I think this was just a great kind of way of us kind of dipping our toe, making sure that we're driving a very kind of clear North Star narrative around the brand's purpose, and making sure that we're doing good. And actually, I think over that whole campaign, we started it in Canada, then traveled to the UK, and then also into other markets like the US. And we generated over 100,000 free meals for these food rescue centers. I think we reached over 80 million people. And the best thing about it was that 85% or so of people that interacted with the game were actually going to change their food waste habits as a result. So it's just a great, fun, engaging way, using gaming, using virtual worlds in a way that we can drive our brand narrative, drive our brand purpose, but also putting product at the forefront of everything that we're sort of driving as part of these kind of gaming initiatives. So I think, it's all about driving scale. Animal Crossing has got massive scale. It's relevant in multi-markets. Hellmann's is a global brand. So, what better way to drive this kind of amazing brand narrative than through sort of, these amazing gaming platforms.
Terrific. And if you'll excuse me for 1 second, you've reminded me of three different things there. One is, guys, I was supposed to tell you guys there's lunch available. So Hellman's, free lunch, no waste. So here's the thing. If you guys want to eat lunch, please eat right in your seats. I would say this, put your hand up if you want lunch, and then somebody from there will help to bring you a lunchbox and just, make this kind of like a working lunch. Anybody want lunch? Anybody? Don't be shy. Put your hand up, and then we won't have any disruption, and then maybe somebody could take a look and just help to deliver, and if you don't have it, put your hand up. Thank you very much. So you know what? I grew up in a Hellman's household. I mean, I'm 55 years old, and my parents already were Hellman's people, probably in the 50s, right? I mean, like when I think of brand loyalty, you got to think about with like FMCG and then like all of the new like avocado only mayonnaises and all the sort of attacks that you're getting, right? People chipping away at these like storied old brands. I still can't even think about Miracle Whip. If anybody here is a Miracle Whip person, then you're not getting any free lunch. I'm rescinding that offer, right? It's Hellman's or nothing.
Exactly, and we're tackling food waste as a result. So it's got a very, very important social mission attached to it.
So it's like the younger people, like it's actually got that relevance there, right?
Absolutely.
And then it's not just some sort of theater when you're actually making that impact in the real world. And I think, our founder and chairman of Animoca, his sort of idea, his vision is open metaverse and digital rights ownership. But, what's going to happen in the future is that the users themselves will own everything and have such power in being able to make decisions. And they're going to vote with their conscience and their spirit and their sort of, the purpose and meaning in their life too, right? So it's really important to kind of bring that in to the picture and like tell me how you're applying that kind of impact to other.
Yeah, so there's a couple of other kind of activations that we've done. We've also partnered with Decentraland and Close Up, which is one of our leading oral care brands. So Close Up is about sort of freedom to love, being able to kind of express your love, no matter of your sort of sexual orientation. And so like within Decentraland, we created City Hall of Love, which is essentially an amazing way that kind of, people can come together and actually declare their love for each other without kind of any fear of judgment. So what better way than actually using the blockchain to be able to mint your marriage certificate, to be able to tell the whole world in a transparent way your love for each other. So that is an amazing program that like Web3 and its technology has allowed us to kind of unpick and help us kind of drive brand narratives around sort of freedom to love and being able to sort of self-express your love for each other. And the blockchain technology can allow us to do that. And so, we followed that up around Pride Month, around all sorts of different activations within Decentraland. So it's a great way of us being able to use Web3 as a force for good for our brands. The other kind of tie-up that we did within Decentraland was for Degree, or it's also known as Rexona globally, or Sure in the UK. So we actually created the first virtual marathon called the Metathon. And Degree or Rexona as a brand is all about sort of driving inclusivity and accessibility of movement, because the more you move, the more it works as a product, but the more that you move, it's better for your mental health and also for your physical health.
I apologize. Rexona is what product?
It's a deodorant brand.
Deodorant, of course.
Yeah. And so, we kind of worked with Decentraland to create this new virtual environment. We created all of these different sort of diverse wearables, so like wheelchairs with prosthetic limbs as well, because we wanted to make sure that like no matter of your ability or disability, that we are building a metaverse for good that is accessible and inclusive. And that's where we partnered with lots of different influencers, with talent. We built this environment for the brand, and actually, the feedback was brilliant in terms of kind of responsiveness, in terms of like, is it a good platform whereby we can driving the brand's purpose, but also about, what we did already within Degree in terms of the new kind of adaptive deo design, which obviously allows people to apply deodorant, if you haven't got any arms. Also, if you've got visual impairment. So again, it's about driving inclusivity of movement and being able to kind of address this within metaverse and building an environment for everyone. We feel, aligns to our kind of marketing manifesto of doing good, but making sure that we're driving an accessible metaverse for everyone.
That's beautiful. First of all, DO. I've never DO for BO. That's a nice shorthand. Yeah, there's so much to unpack there. I think that whole sort of diversity and inclusion. So at Sandbox with Animoca, we just did something with people of crypto, and they're really driving a D&I kind of center in there. But like how many of us here? How many people have not sinned in that? Like you go to Facebook and you look back at some sort of old girlfriend, boyfriend, and you're like, oh, in a relationship. Oh, who are they in a relationship with? And then dig deeper and look at that. And in a way, it's like manifesting itself like with a physical city hall of love.
Yeah.
But then, even next level, that shit's going on chain.
Yeah.
You put that on chain, right? It's one thing to say I'm in a relationship on Facebook, and then you can say, oh, it's complicated, or maybe you're not in a relationship with it, but you put that stuff on chain, then it's actually really transparent and open, and it's literally like a very strong like manifestation of your physical relationship in the virtual world. It's actually pretty brilliant, and it's toothpaste, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you've actually really taken like toothpaste in a metaverse, but now there's like there's something that really grabs onto the heart, mind and gut.
I mean, talking about diversity and inclusion, I mean, something that we've just launched recently for Dove is about real virtual beauty. So it's about driving kind of diversity and representation of sort of female gaming within this landscape, right? Because I think 74% of girls actually wish that there were more representative kind of female characters within video games. So, from a Dove perspective, we're on a mission to educate and inspire to make sure actually there is more diverse characters, particularly around avatars in terms of the way that girls and females are represented within video games. 60% of girls actually are gaming before the age of 10. So there's a huge number of kind of young girls that are playing video games that can get sort of influenced by this massive platform. So that's why we're really kind of working to kind of drive kind of education, empowerment, confidence in young girls to make sure that actually, there is better representation within video games. And that's why we're also working with Unreal Engine and Women in Games to drive this education and making sure that, when you're looking at avatars, that it's more representative of female gamers, in terms of how they look and how they feel. So that's also kind of a huge program that we're now launching. We're also just about to kind of launch a game within Roblox called Super You, which is also about driving the whole self-esteem program that Dove has been driving for over a decade. So this is a great way of us being able to continue our education of the self-esteem program, doing it within one of the world's biggest publishers and gaming platforms to be able to drive more education and visibility in terms of helping young girls drive that self-esteem and confidence.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, gaming, 3.4 billion people in gaming, largest community in the world, $200 billion industry, right? Music's 25 billion, entertainment's 100 billion, so 125 billion, and then gaming's 50% bigger than that, 200 billion. Half of those gamers are in Asia. But, as I lived in China for 25 years, as Mao Zedong said, 女子能顶半边天, like women hold up half the sky, right? But in gaming, it's kind of a toxic environment for women, which really sucks. But also, like, if you see the movie Jumanji, how many people have seen the new Jumanji, right? With, The Rock and Kevin Hart. And then the female character turns into this avatar, and she's like, what? Why the hell am I wearing so little clothing, right? And it's kind of like this self-referential like joke. Yeah. It's like, why are like Lara Croft, like Mattel from Barbie is like, yeah, I don't even buy those boobs. Those are too ridiculously big. And she's wearing nothing, right? And it's like, it's a bro culture gaming, right? And that needs to get a lot better. So it's kind of interesting that perhaps like that kind of cultural influence coming from FMCG and your community into games, like maybe that's what's needed to kind of course correct that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we want to drive change and transformation, and we want to do it in a real way, in an authentic way, and that we're really kind of making a positive impact on the society and communities around us. So that is kind of intrinsically built within our brand's DNA, and obviously every brand has got a different purpose. Like for Dove, it might be about driving better representation of females within gaming. For Axe, we're all about kind of opening up all of these, fantastical opportunities. So, it's about, young guys having the confidence, within their kind of different social environments. And that's why, with Axe, we also, within Fortnite Create, we actually, we created the metaverse, or the Misterverse. Like the mist spray within Fortnite gives you different
I
power-ups.
see what you did there. That's almost like a dad joke. The metaverse, the
So,
Mistiverse. Okay,
so
got it.
yeah, it was the Misterverse, and the Meta Mist spray within Fortnite gives you different power-ups. So that's why we want to create the Misterverse, whereby this kind of Axe universe and environment will be able to give you different power-ups, different in-game rewards, different in-game benefits to level up your game. So it's all about giving these power-ups both in the virtual world, but also in the physical world as well. So yeah, it's lots of really exciting times within our brands. I think it's still a new space. We're experimenting all the time. We're learning all the time. We definitely haven't got it right all the time, but like I think this is where we're trying to build communities and build a metaverse for good that's based on the right governance, that we're taking in consideration important elements like brand safety, data privacy, all the legalities, the tax, the financing. So there is a lot of work that goes underneath all of these different sort of programs. And I think probably one of our most successful activations to date was actually the Sunsilk City that we built within Roblox. It's had over sort of 35 million gameplays to date. I think we only launched it sort of 10 weeks ago.
Wow.
It's a global kind of initiative. It's all about empowering young girls, giving them the confidence. We've got different kind of hairstyles and different experiences. And I think the great thing about Sunsilk City is that every time that young girls complete these different challenges or experiences, it actually unlocks a digital career learning course. So for girls that are finishing school, going to university, it's all about giving them the tools to be able to level up their next progression in their career. So there is, again, a good payback for young girls that are playing the game.
That's great.
That it's
Can
fun.
you peel back some of the mechanics of the game?
Yeah.
Like what's the experience?
It's you go into Sunsilk City, you can go and get your hair done, you can do different experiences, you can do different obstacles, but it's all built on kind of empowering young girls, giving them confidence. And so we created these different games, we created these different salons, we created these different kind of hairstyle wearables that went off the charts in terms of driving these different collectibles. So it was fun, sticky, exciting. But then there is a serious kind of element to it, whereby when they're completing all of these different obstacles and challenges, they're unlocking these different career learning skills and courses. So we're really trying to power up these young girls for not only gameplay but also into their career. And that's why we feel it has to be a lot of value, a lot of utility, a lot of kind of thought that goes into how we create these experiences within Roblox or within Fortnite or within Decentraland. Like, we want to make sure it's got meaning, that it's got this authenticity to it, and that we're serving our communities around us, and that's all about doing good. But yeah, listen, there's a long way to go, and it's exciting times. There's obviously a huge portfolio of brands within the Unilever stable, and yeah, it's this is something that I'm kind of overseeing from a kind of a gaming brand partnership, anything kind of sport entertainment. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and looking forward to the next kind of chapter.
Wow, super fun. So I think the real part of like really making it real so that the users feel like it speaks to them in a way that's not corny and really relevant. And I think that's the most important. Otherwise, it just falls down. And then you have the good part, which everything, every component you talked about there had some. You did well, but you'd done good too, right? But then the unmissable part, I really you know, like all these platforms, you talk about Fortnite and Roblox and Animal Crossing and Decentraland, right? And then soon Sandbox with, I don't know if you have anything in the works there, but I'll connect you up there. It's like, so anybody in the audience, like you don't need to start your own Web3 metaverse necessarily. There's these giant 5-grade rapids, you know, rivers, torrents of users that you can just plug into and piggyback off of and get 35 million gameplays in 10 weeks. Like that's kind of upside down crazy town. That's not supposed to happen, right? And that's a win. Like that's a super successful activation.
Yeah, no, we always say that gaming is like, you know, the first step that we make into kind of, you know, like we were talking before, Web 2.5, 3. So, you know, for us and for our brands, gaming is definitely the thing that we focus our brands to going into first, you know, to establish their credibility, their role, their product role, their brand role. And then, you know, we can start experimenting within Sandbox and Decentraland like we've already done with Decentraland. So, you know, it's those stepping stones and making sure that, you know, whatever we do, there's those shared missions, values, beliefs, and that we're thinking about not only kind of tactical short-term elements, but really thinking strategically about our brand and product role and what our long-term roadmap looks like. Because, you know, I think thinking the long term, this is the long game, right? And so, you know, yes, it's a lot of brands doing a lot of things and different activities making a lot of noise, but yeah, we're thinking long term and making sure that we've got the right strategic fit, the right strategic kind of approach in terms of brand and product role, I think is, for us, the first and foremost most important thing to get right, so that we can actually add value to the communities around us and making sure that we're playing an authentic role, rather than us just showing up because we want to sell product, which, you know.
Fantastic, love it. Big round of applause for Willem Dinger from Unilever, everybody. Thank you so much.